Welcome to the GTN show. On today's show, we talk money. Woo! Thanks, Mark. Yeah. Particularly how much money the pros made in 2022, and it's some big numbers.
Yeah, we also have some interesting sponsorship deals that have newly been signed, an interesting new triathlon bike, and some interesting tech.
Lots of interesting stuff. Plus, we have the usual Tri News, Caption competition, and of course, submissions from you guys. So, let's start the show. Alright, we'll get to all the money talk in a minute if Mark can keep his grubby hands off the money. Don't worry, this is fake money, Mark, so don't bother. Yeah. We're going to start the show with reacts and all the things we've noticed on the internet over the last week or so. Starting with this one, some big news from Sam Long and his girlfriend Laura Grundon. They're expecting a baby.
Yeah, this is exciting, isn't it?
It is exciting, yeah. He teased for a while that there was some big news coming on his YouTube channel and everyone was very interested in what was coming. They thought it was a new sponsor or a new coach, but it turned out it's a new baby.
Even better.
Yeah, exactly. He says, regardless of whether it's a girl or a boy, it's going to be wearing pink.
Nice. Next up, Hayden Wild announcing departure from longtime sponsor Specialized, who, well, I can't even remember him riding anything else, actually.
No.
Obviously being, well, he says for over 8 years. There we go. Yeah, I mean, he's had a fantastic 8 years with them, particularly in the last few years. And so, yeah, really excited to see what's coming next and which sponsor he's going to be with.
Yeah, we'll speculate until we know. But yeah, it's one of many Specialized athletes who are no longer with Specialized. I'm not sure they've got any left now. I can't really think of many more. Flora Duffy is still...
Paula Finlay and Eric Largstrom.
That's about it left there. Anyway, moving on. We have this one, some new sponsorship announcements.
This is from On. So On are almost becoming the super running brand, shoe brand now, aren't they?
I mean, they are everywhere. Absolutely. I'm not sure what their annual turnover is, but they're pretty big, and they've just got some big names in triathlon.
They've literally just snapped up every world champion they could get. Obviously, they already had Gustav Iden, who then went on to become the Ironman world champion in Kona. They've also snapped up Chelsea Sodaro and Christian Blumenfeld, and then in addition to that, also Paula Finlay.
Yeah, what a roster they've got now for 2023. It is quite incredible. Of course, they won't actually be running in those shoes that Gustav Iden won the Ironman World Champs in, because they've changed the shoe rules as of the 1st of January. So there's new rules for the shoes, but I believe they're going to have a pretty fast shoe on their feet for all of those guys. So
yeah,
pretty exciting
cool
times.
Social media campaign they did as well, sort of announcing it between them, almost this like
adding people to the chat.
Yeah, adding it's
Chelsea
Sodaro
has entered the chat.
I liked it. Good work on that one.
Yeah.
Then we also spotted, only this morning actually, I spotted this one, but Carl Smith had a bit of an adventure over the weekend.
Yeah. He said the weather was lousy in Taupo, so he was going to head to the South Island, and he literally couldn't get a ferry. So he was like, that's not going to work. And then his mom found one the following morning. So straight away that evening, he piled all his stuff in the car and drove to the ferry dock to get the ferry. It's a 13-hour drive in total from Taupo to Christchurch, and he had to make the ferry crossing on the way. He shoved all his stuff in and then got to Wellington at about 4 a.m, jumped in the back of the car and slept for a couple hours, overslept a tad and almost missed his ferry. And then he made it to Christchurch, eventually with a long run stop, 20k jog halfway in Blenheim, and then made it to Christchurch at 10 p.m. in the night. And he said, coffee much needed for this coming up 4-hour ride. I hope the weather's better for his 4-hour ride. It was like worth the drive.
It looks like they've been having some pretty rough weather over in New Zealand at the moment. A lot of landslides and roads gone and all sorts. So
it's
hope
not
everyone's
3 degrees like it is here, is it?
No, but I mean, houses are literally falling away. So I hope everyone's okay over there. Also, this is very cool. Sebastian Kienle's on a bit of a kind of retirement tour this next year, but still doing some pretty impressive races. He's signed up to Norseman. So yeah, be excited to see how he gets on there.
That'll be very interesting to see him go up against the Norseman specialists who make that race their own. It's a very different challenge to a normal Ironman. So he said he's a little bit scared, and probably should be. I'm sure he'll do well at it though. And then we have another. Well, Mark found this on Instagram, and it's a bit traumatic to watch.
Yeah, so John Kelly, who is actually a triathlete when he decides to be, between all his epic ultra running attempts, he actually holds a lot of FKTs, or fastest known times, around the world. He posted this video up of him doing a bit of DIY on his house. And as he says himself, I mean, he knows this is stupid. He's got an engineering PhD, but when he was in the moment, sort of trying to move the ladder around between different heights, he just got lazy and decided not to adjust the height of the ladder. And I mean, anyone could look at that screenshot before he falls and think, that ladder's going to fall.
Yeah, it's so obvious when you look at it afterwards. Hindsight's always 2020. That is the reason he posted it. And fair play to him, because it was his video and he didn't need to show anyone his embarrassing mess up there. But he did, and he said because of exactly that reason. People tend to just get complacent and quickly get it done without thinking of the safety, and you really shouldn't. You need to think about safety. So as a public service announcement, he posted a video of him doing something really stupid and getting hurt in the process.
Yeah, he's fractured his wrist, fortunately a non-dominant hand, bruised ribs, and a shattered ego. I mean, to be honest, it could have been a lot worse than that. I thought it was going to be worse.
Yeah, and then we have one final thing, and this is fairly funny. It's Cody Beals running down the finish line at, was it Lake Placid?
Yeah, it was Ironman Lake Placid.
Yeah, and he's winning by miles. But as it says there, when you're winning, but you have some trust issues, because he's looking behind himself at every corner.
And he says, psychoanalyze that one.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, trust issues maybe. Although he's not going to be the guy who gets pipped at the finish line because he was so busy celebrating that someone sprint past him.
And one final thing before we get on to the big talking point about the money, we are going to the Global Bike Festival in Austria.
Yeah, GTN finally cracked an invite.
I know. For too long now, we've been sat here in the UK watching the GCN and GmbH guys going off to these fancy places. And we just sit here and watch them have fun. We are off to Saalbach in Austria from the 15th to the 18th of June to bring a bit of triathlon into the mix. So you can come out there, enjoy some runs with us, still join in with some of the cycles of the GCN guys. They're also going to be doing, I've got live music on, pre-film shows before they're released, all sorts of fun stuff.
It's a whole festival. It's going to be really cool, especially now that we're there.
Yeah, so we've got 20 exclusive spots which you can sign up to through the link that is in the description just down below for spots for the GTN contingent of that, where you'll be able to hang out with us guys, come for morning runs with us and various other stuff, as well as just soak up the festival atmosphere.
Yeah, sounds cool. I'm looking forward to it. Also, if you missed it this past weekend, we released the first in our video on a Training Peaks training plans, 12-week training plans for various events, and there's a few of them out there. In fact, they were written by my wife, Coach Jodie Swallow. So they're up there and you can download and buy those plans on Training Peaks, but start by watching that video that we put up this last week, just to give you a bit of an introduction.
Yeah, and there's still many more to come as well, so keep checking up on that Training Peaks page. Okay, let's get on to our talking point then, and let's talk money, because, well, this makes some interesting viewing. So, Torsten Rads of TriRating, everyone's favourite triathlon data cruncher, has released his money list for 2022. And, well, it had us raising our eyebrows.
Yeah, some big numbers there. But before we go on, there's a bit of an explainer before we start. 2021 was still a bit of a catch-up year, a bit of a weird year after the pandemic. Some races didn't happen, especially the Ironman World Championships. So the Ironman World Championships didn't happen at all in 2021, including the $750,000 that goes with that. And it did happen in 2022 twice, including the $750,000 that goes with it. So some of the numbers are a little bit inflated, a bit of a pandemic correction year still in effect there. So some of these numbers are bigger than they would otherwise be. But even so, things are still looking pretty good for pro triathletes.
Yeah, they are. So we've got a lot of numbers to run through here, but we found it very interesting, not only looking through this year, but also comparing it to previous years. So, Christian Blumenfeld topped the rankings this year with an earned total of $491,000. That obviously excludes sponsorship.
Yeah, but it does include the PTO end of year bonus, which is a $2 million prize purse spread out over the top 100 athletes. So yeah, that definitely bumps up their earnings.
And interestingly, Gustav Iden wasn't a million miles behind. He was at $416,000. Compared to 2021, the top earner was actually Daniel Reef at $244,000. So obviously more than double that. Obviously, a lot of that, as James said, is explained by the double Ironman World Championships this year. But if you compare that to 2019, so Katie Seferis earned $347,000, but herself and Vincent Louis were the only athletes who earned over $200,000 that year, compared to 5 athletes in 2021 and 15 athletes in 2022.
Wow, definitely trending in the right direction there now. 15 athletes earning over $200,000. Interesting, the short course athletes are up there, but much lower than in the past. So this year, Georgia Taylor-Brown and Hayden Wilde are in 8th and 10th, respectively, earning $273,000 and $255,000 respectively. In 2019, the short course athletes, as Mark said, Zeferis and Louis, were on the top of the rankings, and they were the only ones going over 200k. But now the long course athletes, with the addition of the PTO events and long course racing, those prize purses are the earning potential is way higher now than those short course athletes. It's quite impressive. If you
remember as well, the short course athletes did very well from Super League racing as well in that year. So yeah, interesting. But the bit that really impressed me was the depth. Not just those top earners. And I think, to be honest, that is the important part. So in 2019, the money list actually only went down to 20, but with 20th taking home $87,000. In 2021, the list went down to 25, with 25th taking home $95,000. In 2022, it goes down to 40, and 40th still earned $86,000.
It's impressive. So
really
40th is now earning what 20th was just 3 years ago. That's definitely trending in the right direction for being a pro triathlete, that's for sure. Now, as we've said, a lot of this money is PTO money. They have come in with these 3 major events in 2022, the PTO Collins Cup with $1.5 million, the PTO US Open, the PTO Canadian Open, each with $1 million, and then of course their $2 million end of year prize purse. In fact, if you compare the numbers year on year, it's almost all PTO money. So if we moved the St. George World Championships prize money into 2021 instead of 2022, where it was supposed to be, Ironman would have given out $2.46 million in 2019, $2.2 million in 2021, and $2.58 million in 2022. So kind of level there. They haven't really increased as much. A little increase from 2019 to 2022, but not a massive increase at all. In fact, 70.3 earnings has actually gone down. They've gone from 71 pro events in 2021 to only 42 pro events in 2022, and that's also decreased the total amount of money on offer. They haven't moved all the money to just 42 races. It's actually decreased by 27% the amount of money you can earn from 70.3.
And they're not the only ones as well. Challenge and Clash have also reduced events from 27 to 20 and reduced the money by 11%.
Yeah, and WTCS payouts also reduced from 2021 to 2022 by 12%, but to be fair to them, that was probably because Bermuda was cancelled, and so no one got any prize money from that event. They literally had one less event on their calendar in 2022 than they expected to have. But it does make it a little bit worrying when you see the 70.3s decreasing, because essentially what's happening is 3 events on the PTO calendar have replaced 30 events on the 70.3 calendar as far as the money goes. And that's great for the top earners, but it's really difficult for the up and coming guys.
Well, yeah, as we said already, 2022 was a bit of a bumpy year, partly due to all the racing, but also due to a big cash injection due to Super League and short course, and also obviously PTO. I will also say though, we're saying obviously the depth in terms of the pay down to 40th is looking fantastic. I do still think if you start venturing a little further down, you're still going to see a big cliff, particularly for those neo pros, and still some very talented neo pros trying to come through are going to be struggling.
Yeah, and as we say, there's a bit of a gap there in the racing where there's not small, but there's no money races, and then there's big money races,
and a lot of them
there's
are
nothing
invitational
in between. And those big money races, are invitational. So
and
you can't
only get
go
the points.
And show up.
You only get the points for the PTO rankings by being in some of those invitational races. So
and there's a bit of a gap there where low money races with smaller prize purses, but where you can prove yourself and get some points to move up the ranking. There is definitely a gap in the world of triathlon there that we do worry a little bit about how a neo pro is going to get up into these rankings. It's still a tough old gig out there. Another thing, and not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but more money, more problems. I mean, this is going to incentivize a lot of people to come and try triathlon and try and make some money and, get successful and, really make a living out of being a pro triathlete. But it might also incentivize people to cut some corners, cheat, drafting, other means of cheating, such as doping. And I really hope that these people, such as the BTO, who are investing a lot of their money, are also investing some money and time into anti-doping initiatives, fair play initiatives, and things like Race Ranger, which we saw last week, to prevent drafting on the bike, that kind of thing, because we want to make sure this money that is coming into triathlon now is going to the right people. Anyway, it does make me wish I was a little bit younger.
Yeah, maybe 10 years younger.
Yeah, maybe 15 years younger. All right, now it's time for your Tri News. And PTO have announced the location and host of the 2023 PTO US Open. As we already know, it's going to be in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin, and it's going to be at the same venue on the same day as the USA Triathlon National Championships, which is a massive event. It's one of the biggest events on the USA calendar, and now they're adding a PTO event there, so it's going to be really big. They're expecting 7,000 competitors and over 20,000 spectators there, so a really big event, and pretty cool to see PTO hitching their wagon and join forces with the USA Triathlon National Championships. It's going to be a big event not to be missed.
Yeah, definitely. Well, also some news from Boston Marathon. Now, until now, they did not have a deferral policy in place if you fell pregnant. So if you qualified for Boston Marathon and then since fell pregnant, you couldn't defer your spot. In fact, there are some cases of people paying for their entry, including race insurance, a total of around $235, falling pregnant, asking for a refund or deferral, and simply being told no, which is pretty harsh, isn't it? In fact, they would actually make you then re-qualify the following year, just to rub salt into the wound for you to then race again the next year. So Boston Athletic Association have actually responded and announced a pregnancy deferral policy effective immediately, meaning that should you qualify, say, this year, fell pregnant, you would be able to defer your spot to the following year and not have to go through the whole process of re-qualifying. Which is a pretty cool move.
Sounds fair.
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds reasonable.
We've also we've got the Xterra World Trail Championships taking place in Sugarloaf Resort in Maine. So you've got a choice of a marathon distance or half marathon distance, both elite and amateur, and prize purse of around $10,000 up for grabs. And with that, also they've announced the Xterra Trails series, in which you can obviously qualify for that World Championships through doing so. And there's a whole host of events all around the world. In fact, I spotted the Xterra Trail Snowdonia on somewhere in July.
Wow.
If we're not sick of Snowdonia.
We're doing a fair amount of running in Snowdonia in May, Mark.
Yeah,
maybe we should get through the UTS and Snowdonia first before we enter any more races in Snowdonia.
I think that's a fair shout.
Yeah. Also, launching this coming week on the 6th of February is the Zwift Academy Run. And this is very similar to the Zwift Triathlon Academy, where you get a bunch of workouts that you need to do. I think there are seven workouts, plus one finish line event, which is a 5K test run to see how much you've improved. And upon graduation, 2 athletes, one male and one female, will be selected to be in the Zwift Run Academy, which includes all coaching and support to run the 2023 Berlin Marathon. So you can do your training on Zwift.
It's really sweet. Alternatively, you can just register now and start it on the, when is it? The 6th of February, as you said, James. Yeah. And you can do as much or as little of the program as you like. In fact, I still do a lot of the Zwift Triathlon Academy workouts now because they're brilliant.
Yeah, there's no obligation to do all 7 of them, but you get all 7 of them in your workout library and you can do them whenever you like.
Indefinitely.
Yeah, so sign up for that next month.
Yeah, it's a pretty big week in the world of Zwift, actually, because that is not the only news. They've also released a new world, Scotland. In fact, I've even heard they've got Iron Brew aid stations on course.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fake news. But I probably should request that, send that through to
probably
developers.
Should, yeah. I don't know
what
what Iron Brew is.
Oh, you're missing out. So the new world is designed specifically for the UCI Esports World Championships, which are coming up very soon on the 18th of February. And it was inspired by the city of Glasgow, so it's got all sorts of cool like locks and bends and all sorts of stuff around there. So yeah.
Yeah, nearly 60 kilometres of road to explore around Scotland. So yeah, head over there and then enjoy it. It's released yesterday, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also stay tuned because we've got a bit of a pre-release ride around it. In fact, not just a ride, we raced flipping hard around it against GCN
we raced
and
the
GMBM.
World Championships, the Play Sports Network World Championships. Against
just stay tuned
channels.
and you get to see that scene. And now moving on to What the Tech. Now, I have spoken a lot about classified power shift technology here on GTN before, and I know you're a fan.
So does that mean it's not classified anymore?
No, it's not classified. It's not top secret at all. No, so classified power shift technology is essentially putting a gearbox in the hub, in the rear wheel hub, meaning that you can then eliminate and remove your front mech. So essentially puts the shifting capability of that front mech into the rear wheel. Does that make sense?
you could instead of shifting from a big chainring to a small chainring, you do that inside your hub at the rear, removing any need for a second chainring in the front. So you run a 1-bar setup and you've still got the same range of shifting.
Yeah, all while still having your 11 or 12 gears on the back there. So obviously, I think this is absolutely groundbreaking and brilliant for triathlon, obviously. And they've just announced that they have teamed up with Parkour's Wheels, who are a UK brand who have been doing some fantastic stuff actually with some of their wheels and the releases we saw in Kona last year. So yeah, very exciting. So you'll be able to literally buy Parkour's wheels with classified power shift technology in them.
Yeah, and they say this for all bikes, including mountain bike, gravel, road. So you can get a power shift setup for all your bikes, which is...
I just don't know, why aren't people doing it? Why aren't people switching over?
They don't trust the technology yet. Anyway, moving on, there's a new bike brand in the field of bike brands, high-end bikes apparently, from Decathlon. Yeah?
Okay, tell me more.
Well, Velo Follies exhibition in Belgium, Swiss side teamed up with Van Rysel, a Decathlon brand, to release 7 new bikes apparently coming to the range, including the XCR, which is a triathlon time trial bike. Apparently it stands for Extreme Racer. Yeah. And it's not yet UCI approved as one on the UCI approved list, but it is apparently coming soon. And there's rumours even that Van Rysel could be sponsoring a world tour team.
Well, I've got to say, I mean, this looks legit. I mean, it looks like a good and very fast looking bike. It's got the Dida kind of arm, but like the kind of got the full arm rests on there as well.
As much as you can tell from one photo from an expo booth.
It looks great.
Does look,
I mean, also, if anything to go by their concept model, which we've also spotted on display at the exhibition.
That looks cool.
It looks like they're trying to push the boundaries there. So they teamed up with Autodesk, who I remember actually from my university days. They were in engineering, CAD design. So Autodesk basically make CAD software, so they've teamed up with them for this generative design. Basically, I mean, you look at it, they've made the fork and the head tube area see-through, so you can see this kind of lattice sort of structure inside the support. I mean, how safe it is, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure I want to ride it, but it's pretty cool to look at. Cool. Anyway, these 7 bikes are available early 2024, so we'll keep an eye out for that and see both their performance, but also the price point that they can come in at, because that'll be interesting.
All right, now moving on to take a look through some of the photos and videos that you guys have sent in to us. And don't forget, you can send yours in using the photo uploader link on screen right now or in the description just down below. But this week, first one comes from Nick in Lago d'Issia, Italy. Said, wanted to try a new area to ride and following some advice from friends, so ended up in this not so ugly location with spectacular weather. And also, I mean, aside from his lovely cube bike set up beside these railings, has also said, and please help, my wife's jacket is a jaguar pattern or a cow pattern. What do you reckon? I'm going to go for actually snow leopard.
Oh, yeah, maybe. It's more like a giraffe across a zebra.
So we just So just added 2 more into the mix.
You can count on
what
us.
What do you guys think in the comment section down below?
Let us know what pattern that is, what animal that might be. Anyway, John sent us this from his pain cave in Illinois in the USA. Getting in a 70-minute ride this morning, pushing watts, grabbed 2 green jerseys and set new 5-second power PB, and he was obviously riding in the Zwift 30 in 30 for January, day 26 I think he was in that video. And we also found this on last week's show, this comment. It says, hey there GTN, John here. Same John?
Maybe same John.
Day 25, so this was the day before his video he just sent in. Unfortunately I haven't been able to ride with any of the presenters as the timing hasn't worked out. Most of my rides started around 7 a.m. Central USA time. So the other John was in Illinois, USA. So maybe it is the same John. I'll keep checking and hopefully get in with you guys on a ride. Well, we wrapped up the 30 and 30 yesterday with a final ride and I was riding there. I can't say whether I noticed John in the group. Hopefully he was there and he got in a ride with us, but if not, anyway, well done for getting in your 30 and 30. How did your guys 30 and 30 go? I'm going to be honest and say mine was not as good as I was hoping.
Well, no, thank you everyone for getting stuck in, even if it was just for the few. It was great to ride with you.
Yeah, and really cool.
To be honest, we're going to keep those rides going, runs going as well. So please keep checking, or if you're not doing so already, sign in and just join our Zwift club, which is free. You can just click on us, join us, and you'll be notified when we just decide one evening we're just going to go and ride and you guys can join us. So
we'll keep doing GTN club events all year.
Yeah, well, next one, I like this one. It's from Jonas, north of Stockholm, said he noticed that a friend of his could paint bikes, so asked if he wanted a new project, and this was the final result.
Look at those
colours. Gone full Marvel with the Ironman theme.
Look at that Ironman bike, all the gold and red. Even says Ironman on the handlebars there.
The only issue I might see with this is that it is a Sabello S5 with short draft legal bars on, which I wouldn't necessarily choose for an Ironman.
I don't think it's the same Ironman, Mark.
No, I know, but
it's the other Ironman. Yeah, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool paint job. Yeah, Phil sent this in from Woking in Surrey, latest addition to the Pain Cave, a kayak Pro Ergo. Whoa. Right in there between his watt bike Atom and his treadmill, he's managed to slide in a power, kayak Pro Ergo.
I mean, I thought a turbo trainer or a watt bike took up enough room, but putting a kayak Ergo with his massive bars.
Well, he did send us a video of him doing it, so he obviously does fit it in there.
So just about,
very impressive.
Yeah, good going. Okay, next one sent in by Adrian. This is from actually a triathlon race. He says he's out on an open course, non-drafting race, and I was overtaken by a small motorcycle. I wish I could benefit from the drafting, but his exhaust was very stinky. Although he does go on to say, I managed this setup for a few kilometres, which I think he means he managed to ride behind the motorbike for a few kilometres, in which case, Adrian, you may have just told us you cheated.
We'll get hold of the race organiser there and get DQ on its way to...
I mean, we've all sat behind a motorbike or moped at some point. It's good fun. I don't blame you. No?
Have we?
Not in a race.
Oh. Sheepers. Anyway, let's move on quickly. Antonia sent this one on from Bavaria in Germany. She said, no snow in January. It was pretty unusual for our region in southern Bavaria. But the views during my easy run were fantastic. Running never gets boring when I go for a run here and you get 360-degree view of the Alps. What better way to get started on my half marathon training? Well, good luck for your half marathon, and let's hope the snow stays away so you can keep running in conditions like that.
Well, please do keep the photos and videos coming in using that photo uploader link on screen right now, or description just down below.
Okay, now it's time for the caption competition. And remember to leave your captions for this one's down below, and you could be winning a cap next week. But this week, we had this picture of a unicorn holding a vuvuzela at a race. And Ishan Kumar says, even Iron Men need a little sparkle and encouragement.
Nice. Clement said, dang it, Karen, we said uniform, not unicorn.
Yipper said, when Rick saw the unicorn, he knew the runner's high had finally kicked in, and the tiny mouse is same vibe. Runner's high really taking effect here.
Savage Pro said, what did I just pass? A unicorn holding a woman? Holding a unique horn?
That's clever. Yeah. Chris Devonair says, the support in this neighbourhood is really magical.
Rebecca Harrison, when they told me that I could do anything, I don't think they had a unicorn in mind.
And Rachel Carr said, when your mum says she's going to support you on course and she says, don't worry, I'll make myself noticeable.
And the winner for this week's Caption Comp photo is David Tucker. He said, unicorns always knew that if they believed enough, they'd get to see an Ironman one day.
That mythical creature. Well done, David. We'll get a cap out to you for winning this week's caption competition. And for this week, we have this photo.
Do your best. Leave your captions in the comments section down below. But that is it for the show this week. We have got, as we've mentioned already, some fun stuff coming up on the channel, including a GCN versus GMBN versus GTN, a Zwift World Championship edition.
Yeah, we took on the actual Zwift World Championships that you can watch on the 18th of February with the real world champions, the actual pros, and we tried to do it as best we could. It makes for some entertaining viewing. Remember, head over to the GTN shop if you're looking for some cool kit like this jumper, and obviously triathlon kit too, cycle kit too. And if you're looking for something to watch right now, last weekend, Mark and Heather took on a cheap shoe challenge where they ran a marathon in, well, pretty much the cheapest shoes they could find. And I was supposed to do that too, and I just very inconveniently managed to get a cold on exactly the wrong day. Anyway, they made it. So watch that video now because it's quite interesting to see them suffering along in very cheap shoes.
Yeah, well, if you enjoyed today's show, please do get a thumbs up, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Right, how do we split this one up then?
I think we just go spend it on something more.
Good.
Why's it got no printing on the back? They'll never notice at the shop.